Good morning, everyone, and this is Imaginary Dreams with day number 4 for Figuary. I must apologize for not uploading for quite a while, and right now I have already completed videotaping up to day 7, and now with these online or digital critiques, going to have to catch up a little bit. So things should get back into schedule, or we'll try to upload maybe 2 videos a day to catch up with the current Figuary series. There's still a lot to learn, and a lot of cool things to observe after finishing every sketch. And for today's lesson, actually, it's all about that squashy middle. There are a lot of poses where the body may twist and turn, and that is what the people at Love Life Drawing were trying to teach and try to get us to observe in today's um, theme of how does the body bend, and one side might be smooth, or usually the outer curve is smooth while the other side of the body is bent and squashed in. And this also goes with arms and legs, of course, since they all bend. But here is to observe the largest part of the body, which is the middle torso, basically. So let's get right into it and see how I fare following this theme. So in this first image, we have a very powerful, strong lady, though things were still quite stiff, and compared to the other poses that we will see today, I don't feel like this follows the squashy theme all too much. Just a small criticism, since her body looks fairly straight, and she's very heavily built. And so something that I tried to focus on when drawing her was to look at this very strong arm and try to put that into the pose as best I can. But this still is a very stiff drawing, and I'll just leave it at that. There's nothing too much to say. Now in the next one, now we start to see this bendy curvy shape on her back as they over here, and then I try to just implement the same thing, but I made the overall body slightly too big and perhaps got a little bit too far down with the curvature of the legs. But overall, still follows the theme of her torso. Under is much more smooth, and here is a much more deepening or angle, sharp angle on the back. Now this pose I like a little bit more. You can see that her back, even though it's not quite straight, it still has this nice curve going around. And then here is where we see the squashiness come into play, and where the themes of the lessons come in. And I do sort of try to give that squashiness a fair chance, and still the arms are still a big part of the pose along with the legs. And here, now that I am able to see the image side by side, I bend the legs a little bit too far, and the head is a little bit facing forward instead of sideways as the original image shows. And now the next image, we have again her back being bent on this side, and even though her arm is sort of covering, we can presume that it's a little bit more curved here. But this arm is also could be seen as part of the curve overall shape. Here I sort of extrude her belly a little bit too much, should be a little bit thinner, and then try to give her that angle, though I might have put this angle a little bit too high in her body when it should be a little bit lower down here. So I quite like the the angles in the legs overall. Head could be a little bit larger to be more accurate, and the arms came together, I think, quite well. Now this piece, I quite like this pose. We still see a very clear sign about her back, and so it's squashed on this side. This one is still a little bit sort of curved, and the arms themselves are very straight, very strong. And so I try to exaggerate that a little bit with marking on this curve and then a little bit harsher curves over here. Though I struggled a little bit to actually find a curve that I quite like instead of just using one confident line. Next time, just be a little bit more confident and use one like pencil mark instead of like chicken scratching and guessing my way through the pose. And now the last pose again, we have a very nice sort of curve over here and then the squash back down here. The things at first seems to be like following through quite well. I might not have given enough squash for the back, and all of a sudden I just gave her a giant head, and it's just too late for that. I choose not to erase anything since it's all sort of figure drawing and sketching. No need to be like perfect and start erasing bits and pieces in the drawing since one, I believe, for this kinds of exercise should be accurate the first time. Since we're in Photoshop, I'd like to see like how far or how large the head should be. That wouldn't work. So it should be around there, kind of. And once again, sort of the nose is facing sort of this way upwards. Excuse me. The nose is facing upwards here, and eyes, and it's almost there. In the lesson 7, since I'm recording like a whole bunch of these all at once and we're sort of in the future now, lesson 7, the love life drawing guy spoke about how it's we could push the pose a little bit further, and so even though we can clearly see the body is curved here, but the head is also part of that curve because of where she's facing, the direction that she's facing. And so when we draw, we could sort of push it a little bit further, and so we could have a much cleaner curve that way. So that is day 4 of Figuary, and if you like sort of this small journal and self-critique and learning process, feel free to subscribe, and hope to see more videos in the near future. Good night.